To my black brothers and sisters out there that are the ones that are posting all this, oh, we just gonna mind our business. And I saw somebody earlier making t-shirts of like a group of like 6 black people, black men and women, sitting on a bench texting on phones while the country is burning up behind them. Let me explain something to you guys. Let me explain something to you. When they get done with the brown people, they'll be coming after you. And if you don't think that's true, you got another motherfucking thing coming. This is bigger than you, okay? Because let me explain another thing to you. You sit back and watch millions of brown people be kidnapped and removed from this country. When they do come after you, there's going to be nobody left to stand up for you. And when they're coming after you, how are you going to feel when people are sitting on the sideline like, oh, we just going to mind our business? Fuck all this other dumb shit. Man, no. That's not the time for that.
Nope, don't do it, black people. Stay the hell home. Stay safe, stay home, stay out of it. This is not our business. We didn't get us here and we're not going to get us out of it. These white folk got to do the work. And until they do, they are going to destroy this country. That's how much white supremacy matters to these folks. That's how much the delusion, white delusion, not white supremacy, white delusion. That's how much this matters to these folks, that they are willing to throw away their whole goddamn country. They would rather be kings of rubble than to live good and everybody eats. Everybody gets treated well. Everybody gets treated right.
So right now, the general trend that we are seeing is that many white Americans are angry. And they're not even angry at Donald Trump. They're not even angry at the government, but they are angry at black people. And they are asking, why aren't black people coming out to protest, because of, the issue with ICE abducting and harassing Americans off the streets, and the economic hardships that America is facing right now. So they're asking, why are you sitting this one out? We have always seen you come out in numbers with good energy. We all know the energy with black people, but perhaps this is the part that they are trying to ignore, or they don't want to hear that black people warned America, warned everybody else before Donald Trump happened, before all these chaos, came to place. But America did not listen. And now that the house is on fire, the same people that started the fire are the same people that are now demanding or asking for help. But they're asking for help from the same people they ignored, or they have always been ignoring all along. So it is justified. The silence of the ignored at this moment is, justified. So that is what I want us to talk about. Let's watch these videos, and I'll be back with some really nice commentary.
When the rest of the world is asking Americans why they're not protesting, why haven't we blazed out the Capitol yet? Let me explain, okay? What's happening in America, if you don't know, if you're new here, so black people have decided to sit this out because we have been saying the same things. We've been fighting for this country. We've been putting our bodies on the line for forever, right? We're sitting this out. We have learned our lessons. It's not our lesson to learn. Okay. With that being said, someone else has to now take up the call, right? White people are not prepared for this. You have to understand, they have lived in America their whole lives. And even though there's a difference between logic and emotions, especially if we're talking about the survival brain, okay? Logically, they understand what's happening. Logically, they know it's not good. Logically, they know something needs to be done. Emotionally, though, they are still tied to America. They still believe in America fundamentally. They still think that their politicians are going to do something. They think if they make enough phone calls, something will happen. If the politicians were going to do something, they would have never let him in the first place. None of his cabinet picks would have gone through. They're not doing anything for us. They're not going to. But white people have got to fully embrace that. And they have to see America for what it is. And I don't know if a lot of white people are ready to fully, clearly see the narcissist in its full form. Because if you've ever been in a relationship with a narcissist, I have. I was with a narcissist for 18 years. When you first recognize that they're a narcissist, you logically know it. You understand it. You know something's off and wrong. But to tie it to this person who you have seen in different light. Like, because no abuser is abuser 100% of the time, right? Otherwise you wouldn't mess with them. So then you get stuck with this intermittent schedule of reinforcement from your abuser where you're like, they're bad, but are they that bad? And maybe, you know, they're bad in this way, but maybe they won't do this. It's the same person, okay? The same politicians who let all his cabinet picks go through are the same politicians not doing nothing right now. And they're not going to. It's too late. So unless y'all get real angry, real active very quickly, see, white people, y'all have not ever had to be angry before like this. Y'all have never had to get active before like this. At the point in time where I see somebody asking on a comment section, can we do our protests during the weekend because they don't have PTO to take off and they need to pay their bills? You're not going to have a house to have bills to pay for. You're going to have a job to call off on. I don't think y'all understand the extremity of the situation. Like, this is not going to be a peaceful protest type of situation. And the sooner, I am not condoning violence in any way, but because of what that side is going to do, that is what it's going to lead to, okay? Read a history book. Look up the civil rights. We didn't get our rights by marching along with signs singing "We will overcome." No. That is not how that happens, honey. So if you are white and you're watching this, you need to phone 5 friends. That's your homework. Phone 5 friends and get them real angry, because that's the only way. Y'all know how y'all got on those Zoom calls for Kamala? Y'all need to do that. Y'all need to start a Zoom call for getting active, because this woe is me, somebody come save me, it's not happening. As Kendrick Lamar said, welcome to the real America, honey. This is America.
Can we talk? Is it clicking now that elections have consequences? Is it clicking now that elections have consequences? Okay? These all lives matter, folk. Y'all uber quiet. We were up in the streets talking about our lives matter. Y'all were like, oh no, but what about Renee Good, rest her soul, was a stay-at-home mom. She wasn't an activist. Blonde hair, blue eyes, America's standard of beauty, according to them. If they don't care about her life, what do you think that means about the rest of us? What's not clicking? Do you get it now? These people are literally trying to explain away what we have all seen with our own 2 eyes. To somebody, like, for once, it ain't one of us, right? But to one of my mutuals, this looked like a test run. This looked like they just trying to see what they can get away with. Like, you need to keep talking about this. You need to keep raising the alarm. But Black Americans, the descendants of the enslaved, we are still resting. We are still doing our part in our community, because we tried to tell folks left and right who would listen. We told them about Project 2025. We told them about the Biden-Harris accomplishments. Every single good thing that we have had under the Biden-Harris administration is either getting stripped away or is getting sane washed into this administration's project that they want to highlight as theirs or pass off as their own. You understand me? If you do not vote like your life depends on it in November, you have not been paying attention. Black Americans, the descendants of the enslaved, have never really been free, have never really had equity, whether we're talking about diversity, equity, inclusion, whether we're talking about civil rights, voting rights. We were never, ever the first people to get the rights. It was always white women. And y'all go and y'all vote for this kind of harm. And then when the harm comes to you, y'all quiet. It is not lost on me how many white women are not up in the streets, are not loud, are not like sounding the alarm. Not enough of y'all are mad. Not enough of y'all are in the street. Not enough of y'all are sounding the alarm. So stop asking Black Americans, the descendants of the enslaved, where we are. We are where we have been. Resting, minding our business, making sure that our kids have somewhere to go since Head Start is crumbling. We're trying to make sure that our kids are fed. Because let's be clear, this is a friendly reminder. Black Americans are still the highest group of unemployment in the United States. I won't ever let y'all forget that. But yet we are still finding a way to make it as we have always done. We have tried to tell people what would happen if they elected that entity and his regime took over the White House. And yet, y'all didn't believe it. Now we all in the same boat, and some of y'all don't know how to paddle. And y'all mad at us because we not teaching y'all how to paddle, because we never ever were taught. We had to just learn as we went. Because historically speaking, that's all we know how to do is just figure it out. I hate to tell y'all, now y'all got to figure it out too. Now, to Black Americans, the descendants of the enslaved, we still got work to do, because we have some riffraff in our community that we need to nip in the bud, because we don't have time. We don't have time. But everybody else, do not engage. The people voted for this. They voted for it when they thought the harm was not coming to them. But we too mixed up. And you cannot want my house to catch on fire with your house right next door and thinking your house ain't gonna catch a flame or two. But alas, Black Americans, stay moisturized and well rested.
When I see people making comments and videos saying, oh, Black people, referring to Black Americans, don't get comfortable because you all are next, they're coming for you next. It's like, there's nothing the government can do to Black Americans that they have not already done, that we are not already, privy to. I mean, for one, slavery, but we are already an oppressed class. We've already had to deal with, systemic racism, right? Black people get harsher prison sentences, we're paid less, police brutality. Even when, segregation was a thing and Black people were thriving, they burned our towns down, they flooded them, they literally poisoned Black people, they used us as freaking test dummies. There's nothing that they can do to us that hasn't already been done. There's a lot of people of color who, they know that they are inferior to white people, but as long as they're superior to Black Americans, they didn't care. It's like, they don't really like us, but at least they don't treat us like the Black Americans. They don't treat us like that, so I'm cool. They separate themselves from being Black, right? We're people of color, but we're not Black. We're not American. We're not descendants of slaves. Like, they just tried to separate themselves from us and, make themselves feel better than us. And now that, all the focus is on them and getting them out and, they're being severely mistreated. I can agree to that. Now they're upset. Y'all are more mad at the fact that Black Americans aren't under attack than you are that your people are under attack. You're more focused on our reaction. Don't get comfortable because you're next. You're next. And it's like, why is that your thought process? Why is it always us that it comes back to? Because you can acknowledge that in this country, Black people, Black Americans specifically, are treated terribly. We're oppressed. We are seen as trash, garbage. And you thought as long as they don't think that I'm one of them, I'm cool. And now they're looking at you like you're worse than us, trying to send y'all back to, y'all countries, saying horrible things about your country. Now you're mad at us. You're mad at us instead of the people who are doing it to you.
One thing that I do like is that we have all collectively as Black people said, ICE, deportation, legal immigration, that ain't our fucking fight. I love that for us, because we are actually opening up the space for the discourse within the Black community that matter. So I think we are going to have to deal with a little bit more diaspora wars and gender wars and shit. But I think taking our support, attention, and our manpower away from the other groups that use us for their social movements and shit to get things in America, to continue to step on us and continue to oppress us as Black people, I think that's a good start. I think that's a very good start. And I think that we should all pat ourselves on the back, and we should continue to stay out of this. Just continue to stay out of it. You give your opinion, but don't be going out there, because and like I said, again, I liked how we all called out the fake Black Panther Party shit, bro. Like, that was such a CIA fucking attempt, bro. That shit was crazy.
A lot of people think that African Americans are asleep at the wheel when it comes to ICE. And it's like, no, it's just that we've always been fighting against this. So it's like, it's not brand spanking new news for us. It's like the police have been killing us since like the end of Reconstruction, like the police have been targeting us, attacking us through Jim Crow, civil rights movement, into the current movement that we're in right now, it's always just been a constant thing. And I think it's like white people are just starting to realize that this stuff like kind of affects them, like the overreaching of the government and the overreaching of the police and things of that nature. It's starting to affect them. So now they're all just like, oh my God. But it's just like, okay, it's Tuesday. Like for a black person, I'm like, yeah, the police and the government are always overreaching. The police and the government are always doing things that are wrong for the people. So it's not brand news to us, you know?
You know why you're not seeing a lot of black people out there protesting against ICE? You know why you're seeing predominantly white people only at these events? It's because back in 2020, the Democrats utilized the black demographic to go out and riot and act a fool. And they said, oh, if you just elect us, we'll give you reparations and we'll force the police to wear body cameras and all these wonderful, amazing things, right? So black people showed up like we are known to do, and we voted up and down for one side of the aisle. And what did we get for it? Nothing, as usual, because many of us never learn. But now, here in 2026, we're seeing individuals who were slavishly devoted to the Democrat Party. Now they're seeing the Democrats over their entire 4 years in office under Joe Biden. They went out of their way to ingratiate themselves to illegal immigrants. And they sometimes prioritized illegal immigrants, even in black communities, ahead of black American citizens. And black people are sitting there saying, wait, you said you were going to give us reparations, you're going to give us X, Y, and Z. And we got nothing for it. So the silver lining is a lot of people are waking up and realizing the Democrats are only courting their next prospective voting bloc. They want to exploit illegal immigrants for an entire generation, much like they've exploited the black community for the previous several generations. And they're daring you to call them out on that and see it for what it is. So if you're wondering why you only see predominantly white liberals out here acting a fool, rioting and protesting against ICE, it's because ICE is threatening their ability to cater to that next demographic that they desperately want to lock in for an entire generation.
I don't even know, and we are all tired of the BS in America, man. We are all tired of this clown show that we are calling America. So, y'all know where everybody's in an uproar about this woman, Renee, who was murdered in broad daylight in front of everybody while people watched, recorded, screamed, yelled, tried to help. You know what I'm saying? Whole entire time, this terror group called ICE, that we keep saying they're not terrorists, but they're terrorists. They're American terrorists on the soil. They're just standing around, not even trying to help the woman, not nothing, right? And she ends up dying, right? And then the ICE officer who did it, mind you, are these people even actually officers, or are you guys just hiring random strangers to sign up for your cult and calling them ICE? Because the man left the scene, and everybody who is a police officer or some type of branch of the police force is like, that's a no-no. We know that if when a shooting happens or something like that, we don't get in a car and leave. I'm convinced that these people who keep saying that ICE showing up in masks and all this other stuff, these are just regular people with no credentials, no training, no nothing. Because that's what you see when you watch these videos. No training, no respect. It's like watching animals go after people. So today, this woman makes a post, and I'm going to put it so y'all can see it. And she was like, now mind you, it's to the black people. Because every time something crazy happens, they always got to address the black people, right? To the black people, where's your outrage? Where's your voice for this woman? Oh, when your people die, you guys want people to be mad. But when our people are dying, when white people are dying, you guys are not mad. You guys are not sticking up. Where's your rage? Where's your compassion at? Who the hell's this lady talking to? Because where is y'all's rage and compassion for all the stuff that's been happening to black people since we've been here? Matter of fact, since y'all's ancestors came here and lie, cheat, steal like y'all do everywhere you go. Everywhere you go to every country. It is not even just America that y'all are the problem. And I hate to say this, but I'm not even talking on my ASS, man. This is facts. Check every country. Y'all are the problem. Y'all go to every country, lie, cheat, steal. Even sitting here from America, all our country does is go to other countries and lie, cheat, steal, take their resources. Call them terrorists, criminals, and everything else because you want to pillage from them. I don't understand. Where's y'all's rage at when that is happening? Where's y'all's rage at for all these years when you watched us get lynched, beat in streets? You know what I'm saying? Watched our women get choked out by cops. Are you kidding me? Watched young Emmett Till get dragged off for whistling at a white woman that he didn't even whistle at. Where's y'all's rage at? Because the thing is, y'all love to have black people's blood for your casualty, for your purposes, for your agenda and your game. But when it comes to us, nothing. We still got to shed our own blood for our own causes. Yeah. I don't understand that. And America is one of the only places where y'all want black people to be your saviors, but at the same time, y'all hate black people. We're nothing to you. We're scum. We're this, we're that. But when a situation arises, you know what I realized, right? When a situation arises, right, every group looks for black people. Is that not crazy to y'all? That every time a situation happens, right, nobody says, where's the white people at? Where's the Mexican people at? Where's the Spanish people at? Where's the Panamanian people at? Like, there's millions of people in the world, right? But every time something happens to another group of people that's not black people, the first thing that group of people gets online, gets wherever and says is, where's the outrage from the black community? Do we all, I know we are made in our Father's image. But for some reason, y'all all think that we're a black Jesus to you. But when it comes to us, y'all are the devil for us. I don't understand that logic and thinking. And for this lady who made that comment, all of us are outraged. Well, I ain't gonna say all because I see a lot of nasty comments that should not be said. Y'all need to go back to your drawing board and start thinking about what your morals, your values, your respect, what you stand on. Because most of us, our stomachs are turning. And for black people, baby, we've been going through this for the longest, trying to tell y'all that. Since Rodney King and everybody else before and after Rodney King, okay? But maybe, just maybe, at the same rage you're expecting from us, y'all had every time a Rodney King situation happened, every time a George Floyd situation happened, every time a Breonna Taylor situation happened, every time a Trayvon Martin situation happened, maybe if y'all had that same energy for us, baby, we'd always show up and show out for you too. But instead, here's what y'all say. Oh, they should have complied. Oh, they should have listened. Oh, it's always that group of people getting in trouble. Oh, well, had he just put his hands up, like the officer said, he wouldn't be dead. So I guess in the same breath, right, we could say all that about this lady Renee, right? And believe me, I saw some people say it. And that is not my point, because all those statements are not true. We've seen people comply, we've seen people listen, and we've seen them still die. It's the fact that these people are power tripping. So when someone is power tripping, even if you're bending to their will, it still may not be enough because they're power tripping. So my point of this random thoughts of a stranger rant is, stop always expecting people to be your black Jesus, because we ain't never had none of y'all be a Jesus for us. And we ain't Jesus, only Jesus is Jesus. But y'all understand my point here. Stop always expecting Superman out of us when y'all keep being Lex Luthor to us. And just maybe, if y'all had not sat around all this time while other groups of people went through different atrocities and you laughed at it because that's what y'all do, maybe if all this time y'all wasn't laughing and y'all was fighting and hollering and hooting with the rest of us, we wouldn't be this far into this racism, violence, heinous acts of crimes, and everything else that we got going on in America. But now that y'all are starting to feel the burn of this, because now I think y'all white people have come into the realization that you should have been coming into, that y'all are on the chopping block too. You regular white, non-billionaire people, right, that are not the 1%, y'all are on the chopping block with us too. Now you know. Now it's clear to you that you could get killed in broad daylight, that you could get killed and not come home, that your whiteness is not affording you the same privilege that you thought it had been affording you all these years. Is that the problem? Are you scared now? Because now you're in the same boat as us black people, Mexican people, all the people y'all keep calling immigrants and everything else, all of us other shades of melanated people, baby. Now you mad because you're on the chopping block too. The bells are ringing, aren't they? Ring the alarm, huh?
Just a reminder that this wouldn't be happening if everybody wasn't so nonchalant about black people being killed by law enforcement all the time. You let it be okay because, oh, they must have done... Yeah, exactly. Turning a blind eye to it until it escalates to where it's at now. And that's not an exaggeration. And yes, I'm making it about that because they're fucking connected. So maybe if you weren't so fucking anti-black for so long and you actually pointed out that it was wrong before, we wouldn't be in this position where that shit's happening so nonchalantly now. But people are anti-black as fuck, so that's what it is. And here we are. Now what? This is 100% true, by the way. Nothing I'm saying is exaggeration. You need to fucking hear it. Be okay with that shit. If you weren't so anti-black, when black people who have been getting shot by law enforcement, if that's what you want to call it, for all this time, wouldn't be having so much shock and all now because it wouldn't have got this far. But because you allowed that and you believed that law enforcement has the right, all that bootlegging bullshit you believed about black people getting shot in the streets, probably wouldn't be in this position in the first fucking place. But here the...
So there's been this online discourse about why black people aren't out there protesting more, ain't out there on the front lines more, and saying that this isn't our fight. Some of my mutuals are into it, and they beefing with each other. But I'm going to try to explain to those people who don't know and don't understand why black people ain't out there. I'm going to explain to y'all, and I'm going to try to do it quickly because I want to do a longer form, but that'll be on a different platform. So here we go. I was born in 86, right? Throughout the 90s and the 2000s, one of the things that kept being said about black people is, they need to build up their community. Why don't they build up their own neighborhoods? Why don't they own their own businesses? Why ain't they doing all this stuff? They commit the most crimes. They're the main ones on welfare and all this other stuff. And they're the main ones with affirmative action and DEI and all this other stuff. And we believed all the stuff and negative stuff that they were saying about us, our community, and our culture, right? Right. Now, fast forward to where we are now, where a lot of us are doing our research on this stuff and realize a lot of the stuff that they were saying about us was just straight up lies. We don't commit the most crimes in this country. We're not the main ones who benefit from welfare programs. We're not the main ones who benefit from DEI and affirmative action. And regardless of anything that has ever been been set against us, we still find time to laugh, smile, build up, take care of our families, and do all of that stuff. And we're learning that all that stuff that they said about us was lies. We also learned that a lot of the stuff that our ancestors fought for, the people who do benefit the most from that stuff, are the ones who will talk trash about our community and about our culture and don't even understand it. And now we're feeling offended because you guys are benefiting from the stuff that our ancestors fought for, but yet are the same ones talking some of the most trash about us. And y'all want to wonder why we're not fighting? We fought for y'all back in November. November 2024, we fought for y'all. Y'all didn't fight for y'all because it was a hectic time during that election. And that election showed black people one thing, that we are more on accord than y'all have been leading us to believe. Even black women, y'all have black women thinking that white women were going to stand by their side more than black men until them election results came in and we realized like we actually are more together than apart. And, you know, of course, we can blame it on a couple of loudmouths with a podcast, Mike, but it is what it is. So we're looking at it like, nah, y'all got yourselves into this mess. What we're going to do is build our community like y'all been saying we need to do, and y'all can go deal with this. In fact, don't ask where the black people are at. Why don't you go ask all them random TikTokers who suddenly got political and told y'all not to doggone vote or try to vote for a third party, that as soon as the election results came in, all of a sudden, they don't talk about politics no more. Ask them to go help you. Don't ask us. That's the reason why. So just in case you need to know, that's the reason why.
All right, all right. So first of all, maybe we could set some context to this situation. So because this conversation didn't start in 2026, you know, it dates way back, and maybe we can go to 2024, 2025, and when Trump was already signaling at some, unrealistic policies, authoritarian policies, you know, attacking institutions, pushing extreme bills. You know, black Americans were already saying this is dangerous. You know, we should not let this guy come to office. This won't end well. But what was the response from the rest of America? You know, dismissal, mockery, or just cold silence. And now that ICE is expanding and people's rights are being rolled back and people's rights are being infringed everywhere, and the economic pressure is hitting people who never felt it before this much, suddenly there is a we need to unite. We need to unite. See, unity for convenience cannot work. Yeah. So here's the truth a lot of people don't want to accept. There is nothing the American government can do to black people today that, you know, it hasn't already done to them before. What is the worst that they can do to them? Slavery, Jim Crow, mass incarcerations, surveillance, police terror, economic exclusion, name them, anything. Black Americans have already seen it. So black Americans are not sitting out because they are scared. They are sitting out because they have seen this movie before. And they warned everybody about this and people did not listen, you know. And when you've survived the worst versions of a system, fear stops being, you know, the working motivator for you. And that's exactly the point with Black America right now. So we're also seeing threats of, if you don't stand up with us, they'll come for you next. In the case of ICE. So some people are saying if you don't stand up against ICE now, they will come for black people next. But I think that threat does not land well, not with black people, because the American government has always been coming for black Americans, for black people, for as long as America has been there. And, you know, trying to threaten black people with deportation doesn't work. America would have already long deported black people if there was anywhere they could be deported to. But black people cannot be deported from or in America. Where will they take them? There is no America as we know today without black people, or at least without the numerous, the quantifiable contribution of black people. So there's nothing new that they can invent. There's no new place they can invent where they're going to put black people. So they would have already deported them if if that was possible, if that was a possibility. So the fact that they have never deported them before means that they still cannot and will not deport them. So trying to rage bait them or threaten them that if you don't stand today, they will come for you next, that is just an empty threat, And then this is a pattern that Black Americans know too well, And every time there is a national crisis of some sort, they rage bait Black people. So then Black people will show up, they will organize, they will sacrifice. But then once the danger passes, once they deal with the problem, everyone else goes back to comfort, back to safety, and back to forgetting, sadly. Meanwhile, Black people, they stay behind, still dealing with the consequences of everything that, America has always thrown at Black people without complaining. So this pattern is why many are choosing to rest right now, to distance, self-preservation this time. No apathy, just boundaries, And this also takes us back to where we need to question on who created this moment, And let's be honest, the people now begging for unity, for Black people to join in, to see Black people march or come to the streets, are often the same people who voted for Donald Trump, tolerated Donald Trump, or dismissed warnings about Donald Trump. And they drove the country into the mud. And now they're asking the passengers who are just sitting and warning you to slow down, to jump out and push the car out of the mud. But that's not possible. You drove it into the mud. So Black Americans are saying, because you pushed us into the mud, push all of us out of the mud, and maybe then we can talk, So what America is experiencing right now is not new. Well, at least not to Black people. They have seen this. They have seen a government turn against its own people. They have seen, a government clearly show betrayal, like what Donald Trump and his regime are doing to their most loyal supporters. They know this, And it's finally just reaching the people who are protected by privilege. Today, America is just exposing its true colors. It has always been a country that has ignored its people. Maybe white people have at least been privileged to be cushioned by the system. But because the system was always made up of lies of white supremacy and white superiority, the lie is now beginning to crack and everything is coming to the open. And this is what America has always been like. Black people have been always saying America is not a fair country. America is a country where a few elites eat while everybody else struggles. But people didn't listen, And the irony, so the many of the freedoms, by the way, that are enjoyed by many people today in America, is they exist because of Black people. The Black people fought for them, and in many cases they fought alone, and often in many cases they were not even given credit for the fights they put to put the country where it is. So if Black Americans choose to this time round to sit this one out, it's not betrayal, it is memory, it's clarity, it is just refusal to be used one more time. And that should just be clear. There's no amount of threats, there's no amount of rage bait or trying to, play victim. That's going to, because it's clarity. We warned you against this and you didn't listen. So there's no point in asking us, to take a part in the mess you all created for all of us. So it's not like maybe Black people are not feeling the economic situation as it is right now, but they saw it coming. And the people that would help to, help would at least help to avoid the country from going into this, did not, ignored the warning. So we're all in it together. That's just the message out there. Yeah, so that's my take on it. Do share with me what you think in the comment section below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're new or if you haven't. And I'll see you in the next video.